And welcome. I am so excited to introduce the beautiful, the wonderful, the talented Vanessa.
Hello. Thank you, my dear friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much for, sharing your time and your expertise and experiences with us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It is an honor, honestly. Thank you. And doing all the work that we have done in leadership to where we are now. Such a blessing. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So we will kick off. First question. What does self-care mean to you?
I love that question because it is missing all too much in our world today, and we get to bring it back. Self-care is prioritizing me and knowing that what I have to give to the world is important, but I cannot give what I do not have. So really making sure that I prioritize, whatever that self-care gets to look like, where I'm paying attention to me. Yeah. And just taking that utmost care that I would for anyone else, I get to do that for me first. So it could be taking a walk, which I enjoy, a bubble bath, or something really silly. Actually, watch a Little Bear cartoon. And I have my little teddy bear. It's actually off in the corner there, but I don't want to go off screen. But I hold my little teddy bear and I'll just watch my cartoon, and so I don't tell many people that, but it's my way of just, calming down. It's comforting. And so just a few things that I do for self-care. And that's what it means.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. And bringing you back to your childhood almost, that comfort.
Yeah. It's really good.
So thinking of your very favorite self-care moments and your favorite self-care memories, is there another one that you could share with us?
Yeah. I think for me, nature is where I really ground myself, and definitely in my faith, and just praying and just reading my Bible, but also getting out into nature and just letting my feet sink into the ground. And I'll just get an umbrella, I'll make my favorite cup of tea, and just being able to sit outside and calming myself is so just healing for me, and I'm able to breathe. And that's where I feel like, okay, whatever's ahead of me, I can tackle it so much more effectively because I'm grounded. I have air and, air in my lungs, and I'm getting blood pumped to my brain. And so I can think clearly. And so for me, creating those moments have been really vital for my sustenance, my ability to create all that I do, especially in the field that I'm in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, and nature is so healing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
So thinking back to when you very first came to self-care, can you remember your first experience of it?
Yeah. Awkward. Awkward because putting myself first was a bit foreign for me. Putting yourself first oddly enough, feels selfish. And so it's easy to run on empty, thinking that, I'm being a savior when I'm running on empty, because I think from that space I'm giving to the world. It's better to give than to receive mindset. And I just remember feeling like this is a little uncomfortable. I just feel selfish. And it actually wasn't until a few years ago, and definitely more recently within this past year and a half, where I really started to dedicate time to myself. And I noticed that my output was greater because I was getting such rich input of self-care. Whereas before, resentment was all too common because I was always giving from empty. And also a lot of self-depreciating thoughts, because it was always, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not, a lot of these thoughts that didn't serve me because I was empty. And so all of the negatives on my day were magnified because I was so focused on what didn't work because of how empty I was. And so when I first started doing self-care, I noticed those incremental changes where I felt more alive, and I could see more clearly, and I can give with a full heart as opposed to from an empty heart. So awkward at first, but definitely growing into seeing the value. Mhm.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so openly and honestly with us. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I know that will support a lot of people who perhaps are just coming to self-care, for that very first time and
Mhm.
feeling those selfish feelings just like me. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
resonate with that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, at the very beginning, as you were taking those very first few steps into self-care and it was feeling really awkward, what would you recommend for somebody to take as a very first step?
I think to see the vision, to really envision what it is that you want to see at the end, because you can't walk into something you have no idea what you're walking towards. So for me, it was saying, okay, how does Vanessa want to feel at the end of this? I want to feel energetic. I want to feel rejuvenated. I want to feel that I matter. And for me, it was a big piece of knowing my worthiness, that I can take those moments to take care of myself. And so I think the biggest piece for me that I would share with people who are struggling with self care, and I notice the pattern is that people who usually struggle with it are really great at giving till they have nothing left to give. And for those individuals, I would really just love to impart encouragement to know that you are valuable, that your self care is vital for your ability to continue giving in such a greater way. So, really seeing the vision of how you want to feel at the end. And from that space, because you love to give already, which is what I do, how much more can I give if I'm giving to myself first? So, really having a clear vision of what it is that you want to create. So, when you walk into that space, you already know what you're creating, as opposed to just like, well, I'm just here, when there's no clear intention. So, sometimes it can feel like a waste of time at the end, but it's not. But when you have vision, it eliminates those thoughts of, well, that was really selfish, or, I don't, it might have been a waste of time. I probably could have done something more productive. That was the most productive thing you could have done all day. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the likelihood of you feeling to do more self-care because of the vision will be a lot more likely. So I think you creating more times of self-care will increase because you see the value in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So using that vision, that goal as the fuel to actually power you
Exactly.
into the self-care and then enable you to see, what you're headed towards. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it gives you
Yeah.
the result as well. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
so
Mm-hmm.
on like a daily basis for yourself, do you find that you check in with yourself physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, or does it vary on a day to day?
It does. That's a good question, actually. Something I don't really think about, but there are different quadrants to it, and they kind of all flow together. Um, yeah, for me, I think it goes day to day, but the more that I increase taking care of myself and prioritizing myself, I find that I'm kind of hitting all of those points more and more. And I know when I'm in a state of depletion, I'm completely ignoring all of those arenas. Yeah. So I definitely, for me, day to day, it's a work in progress, but it's definitely getting easier to be able to create that space for myself because now I know what it feels like. It's not awkward anymore. Yeah. So spiritually, being able to stop and, pray. And while I'm praying, doing a body check and just like, oh, my shoulders are tense. Wait, my breathing is shallow. Okay, now check in emotionally. What am I feeling? Why am I tense? Oh, okay. I'm feeling a bit angry right now, a little bit angry. And I'm like, okay. And I might not feel it. Oh, wait, what did I do just before this? Oh, I just snapped at my dog. I just snapped at my husband. Okay. Clearly my body. I'm clearly mad. Something's up. Okay, now let me mentally. Oh, what happened? What, this morning I was happy. At lunch, oh, it was my call with my mom. I didn't have time because I had to go straight to a meeting right after the call. I didn't have time to process it. I'm pissed. And then I get to dive deeper from that point. That's huge. It's and I get to do some coaching with myself, release, breathe, and have a much better day than I would if I didn't pay attention. Yeah, big time.
Oh, that's amazing. And thank you for walking us through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And it shows the difference,
Mhm.
where we then don't check in with ourselves, we carry on and it just builds.
Yeah, it really does. It really, really does. And it can affect your whole day, your whole week until you just stop, pay attention, and realize, wait a second, I actually have a thorn in my shoe. Get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And you mentioned about coaching yourself. And do you also have like a support network for if something comes up and you feel that you get to have a bit of extra sort of support with something?
Mhm. Yeah, I did. I had my best friend, you actually know from HCL, Emily. Yeah, I have my best friend, and I know that she's my go-to person. And also, I'm a part of quite a few programs myself, parent coaching and whatnot. So the best coaches have coaches, and I too have coaches. And so knowing that I have those supports, and one that I tell my parents as a parent coach, I definitely really coach them around mindset and what support looks like. And so having that emotional support, having that just that physical presence, even physical support as well, because there are parents who don't get hugged sometimes. They're just going, doing. And so I get to ask those parents, what does your support look like? Well, it's my mom. Okay, what does that look like? Well, there's a lot of judgment and stuff, but I mean, she's there and I get to talk to her. So I hear the plea to connect with mom, with her mom. But the reality is that mom doesn't fit that role of emotional support quite yet. So maybe mom just gets to fit this role and you get to have that, but somebody else gets to take that role of emotional support or physical support or whatever. So for me, I know it's identifying what that support gets to look like and who's the best person for it. So I'm basically interviewing. I am requesting specific people to meet those needs as I would for them, and so knowing that I have my team. I was just on a coaching call with a parent about that. We get to give, but we also get to receive, and having a beautiful team around you to support you in different arenas of your life is vital. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Again, beautiful, sort of walking us through every area of that. Thank you. And so going back to yourself with your daily self-care, do you have like a self-care routine that you follow maybe in the mornings or throughout the day?
Yeah, right now my routine are body checks. So in this season for me with a lot of movement, I'm in a lot of training right now. I'm doing a lot of coaching. So my life is very fast paced and I'm also preparing for a wedding. so so my day, yes, I know, I'm super excited. So my days go by pretty quickly. And the one thing that I get to continue to remind myself are doing my body checks. So, what I had walked you through earlier, where I'm just like, all right, my shoulders are tense, my breathing is a bit shallow. So it's those things. And it's usually at that time where I just take taking a 5-minute break to calm myself down. Or if I'm really heightened in a particular emotion, my predominant emotion that I've really been like working through is anger. It's one emotion that I've suppressed most of my life. And so it's one that's been coming up, you know, because I never gave it space to express itself growing up. So now it's like I'm here with a vengeance and I'm ready to show myself. And it's like let's do this in a healthy way. You know? When I'm feeling that anger just raging, I get out my favorite songs. And so I pick a song for an emotion. You know, today I'm going to play, you know, whatever song that represents anger. You know, Kanye West, you know, Stronger is one of my songs when I'm feeling really low and, you know, and I feel like I can't make it. I feel limited in my abilities to do what I want to create and I'm feeling less than. I'm like, wait, you know what? I'm putting on Stronger. I'm going to dance. I'm moving the furniture out of the way and I'm getting that energy out. After I'm done, I feel so much better. So it's those little things.
Yeah, no, I love that, and bringing the dance in, because we're literally letting the emotion flow, because it's just, emotion is just energy that we're holding and we release it. Yeah, that's beautiful. A fantastic top tip. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Yep. A song for those emotions. Yep. Let it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. And then also like a power song as well, you know, just to kind of get you revved up before you're going into something that perhaps you'd rather not be going into, but you know, just to get you into those good mental spaces as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I could add actually one more thing to do, creating intention for your day,
Mm.
creating clear intention for your day. So the likelihood of you actually following through with your self-care is a lot more higher, right? So having clear intention today, I'm committed to working on this project, this project, this project. I have these meetings, I have these calls, you know, or I'm working from this time to this time. So I'm committed to having dinner in the crock pot ready, cooking while I'm at work, whatever it gets to look like. But I'm also committed, start of my day, I'm committed to creating self-care every hour, every 2 hours. And so creating that intention, so you are setting yourself up for success mentally and emotionally. So you're ready to go out the door. So I just wanted to add that really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it, you know, it ties in with everything you've said about intentions and just
Exactly.
kind of planning through. So
Yeah.
do you schedule self-care as well?
Yeah, something I'm working on. Something I'm working. Yeah. So scheduling that, it's kind of for me, it's like, oh, I haven't done self-care. So I'll take a break, but it's not really scheduled.
Yeah.
It's something I would definitely like to do to really prioritize. And yeah. So, and especially as I'm preparing for my wedding, you know, my weekends are also booked, you know, and so it's like, okay, I get to have some time for myself to refresh and just kind of ground with myself. So I'm finding that my Friday evenings are just for me, just for me. And if Friday evenings get taken up from, you know, another appointment, I try to block that out. No one gets to take that. But if, you know, if there's something that like, this is the only day, Friday's the only time that we can make this happen, I'm like, all right, cool. Well, then I'll move my Friday to Saturday, but I try to minimize that as much as I possibly can. So I get to keep my Friday. Yeah. So that's more of the bigger self-care, more dedicated time, but small incremental times, that's where I'm working on creating more consistency. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love it. And you kind of explained as well within that, you know, whether your people around you are aware that it's your self-care time. So
Yeah.
it's something that you're kind of you're working on, and you've got a bit for the Fridays. Yeah. Yay, your self-care is important. Woo!
Really, really is. It really is. It helps more than you know. It really, really does. Yeah, so much flows from that.
Yeah.
So much flows. Yeah. So I can talk more about that, but maybe that's another conversation.
Yes, we can do a full effort one. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So for your final question, how do you celebrate your wins?
Mhm. That's a good one. That's a good one. And another one I'm working on more. Before I would completely go on, as soon as I completed something, which was a, I'd go on to the next. I'd go on to the next. And I've been challenged a lot lately, actually, by my team, my coaches, and they've really been challenging me to, what have you acknowledged yourself? You just completed this, or you just did this, or whatever. And so now what I've done is I actually, a few fun examples, I actually get bubbles and I'll blow bubbles and I'll do like a fun walk or, and I'll do something that I don't normally do to celebrate myself. And I also share with the people that love me and check in with me. How are you? I just did this. And I'm really proud of myself. So they also get to celebrate me too. So I get to invite them in on my celebration, and sometimes it's small and sometimes it's big, or I'll go treat myself to my favorite restaurant, or it can be something small or big, but it's definitely, for me, doing that is getting a much more easier the more I practice it. And with that comes self-worth, because the more I practice, the more that I see, what, I am valuable. I am valuable. And then from that space, I get to create so much more, because I'm not just doing, I'm being. I'm being Vanessa as opposed to doing what I think Vanessa's supposed to do.
Yeah, I love it. And you are so worthy. And yeah, you get to celebrate yourself and you get to have that joy and of being in flow of you. And yeah, it's beautiful. And I can see like it's so much more. There's so much more like freedom with you and your being right now, and you're glowing. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Yes. Yeah, you feel it. Feel it big time. Thank you. Yes. I love
Yes,
what
you
you're
are.
creating. The world needs more of this. Yeah, it really does. Mm-hmm.
Oh. And for the very last bit, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience at all?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to share with the parents. Those of you watching, I would just love to encourage you to really see that you are a phenomenal parent, and you get to prioritize you. Your self-care is so important. And from that space, how you parent is so impacted by how you take care of yourself. You cannot give to your children what you don't have yourself. So have grace for yourself, prioritize your self-care. And if you get to create a team, then do it, do some bartering. You already watch kids, you watch your own. So offer to watch someone else's kids on a weekend and then switch off and have a weekend to yourself. Those are just some examples that you can utilize, so that you can, have that support for yourself and really get that self-care in. So there's a ton of ways that you can create that, but making sure that you are taking care of you, because how you parent and how you impart the best parts of you into your child will come from that space. So you get to be the best parent that you can be, that you've envisioned before your baby was born. And how you create that is in your self-care. So prioritize it, make it happen. Yeah. And if you're stuck, ask for help. So yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
back to
you.
you.
Yeah, no, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so true because
Yeah.
it's like, we get to put our oxygen mask on first. And once we've sorted ourselves out and we are good, we've topped our self-care up to the max, we have so much more to flow out and then go serve all those other people around
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I also wanted to add to that, as far as having that support and that care, with what I do as a parent coach and supporting families. I get to also self-care here, plug in one way that you guys can do it for those parents who are listening. I'll have a resource that I'll be giving Liz, and you can go ahead and click. I'm not sure how we'll do that, but I'm sure we'll have a link, and you can check out some information and see what your next cut gets to be for you to really dive deeper into support. So what we do in parent coaching is really supporting the family with the core. And when you work on the core, everything that flows from that space is beautiful. It's powerful. So changing one family at a time from the core, from within, and that includes self-care. So
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much for sharing that. That's,
yes.
that's really kind. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's a joy and an honor, seriously.
Well, thank you so, so much for your time. It has been, an absolute honor to have you here and for you to share
Same
all
here,
of your
my friend.
expertise.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, have a wonderful day.